Hi everyone, it's Nicole here with Our Children, Our Future, La Cloche Early on Child and Family Center. Thank you so much for joining me for Family Matters today. Today is still March, so we are going to be talking about nutrition because March is Nutrition Month. And today we're going to be doing something super fun. We are going to be playing a true or false game that you can find on the unlockfood.ca website. It is super fun and it's a lot of common misconceptions around handling different food items. So we're going to talk about the true or false quiz, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information if it's true or false and why that is, and I will post the resource link in the description of this video as well, so you can check out the full article and all of the facts. So let's jump in and get started. The first question we have is, it's okay to thaw perishable food like frozen chicken or beef on the kitchen counter or in the sink. True or false? So this is actually false. So the reason that this is false is because the outside of your food might reach the danger zone, which means that it could fall between a temperature of 4 degrees, above 4 degrees Celsius or above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, before the inside of your food is actually thawed out. This allows bacteria to grow, which could cause foodborne illness. So 3 safe ways to defrost your food are in the refrigerator. Plan it out ahead of time. Most foods can be safely thawed in the refrigerator. Usually it takes a bit longer to do, so plan ahead and put down a tray to prevent any drippings going into your fridge. You can thaw your food out in cold water. So by placing it in a plastic bag or in a container with cold water, just make sure that you are changing the water out every 30 minutes to ensure that the water stays cold. You should never use warm or hot water because it causes the same result as leaving it out on the counter, meaning that the outside is going to warm up faster and possibly put that into a temperature that could cause illness. The third method is using a microwave. So using a microwave safe container, cut up your meat or cut up your food and heat it very thoroughly. If you do not heat it completely thoroughly or all the way through, it could allow bacteria again to grow. So this is a method that you really have to cook it thoroughly, almost in the microwave, before you take it out. The second question: foods should be put away in the fridge or freezer within 2 hours. True or false? So this is actually true. It is important to refrigerate or freeze food within 2 hours or less. It, again, slows down the growth of any bacteria or spores that might be present. So here are some tips to look for with leftovers. So very hot items can be cooled first at room temperature, and put the food in a shallow dish so that it cools more quickly. Once cooled, refrigerate all leftovers promptly so they continue to cool quickly. Use a lid or aluminum foil or cling wrap to cover the food. And avoid overstocking your refrigerator because it doesn't allow the air to flow. Therefore, your food might not get as cold as it needs to be. The third question: milk and eggs can be stored in the refrigerator door. True or false? This one is false. It's not best to place eggs or milk in the refrigerator door. To keep eggs at their freshest, store them in their original carton. And as well, because you're opening and closing the refrigerator door, oftentimes the foods in the door do not stay as cold as the foods left in the fridge. So keep that in mind. You want your milk and eggs to be in the fridge so that they stay at a nice cool temperature and keep them fresh. Number 4. One of the best ways to prevent contaminating foods is to wash your hands. True or false? True. Washing your hands before you're handling food Also, washing your hands after you're handling raw meat, seafood, after you use the washroom, after you change diapers, after you blow your nose, you cough, you sneeze, you touch your children, you touch your pets. It's always best to wash your hands. By doing this, you're going to avoid spreading germs when you're touching different things around your home. So just a reminder, when you're washing your hands, to rub thoroughly for at least 20 seconds with warm water and soap. Make sure to wash in between your fingers, on the backs of your fingernails, and underneath on your palms as well. Dry thoroughly. They do recommend using a single-use towel when washing your hands, especially when handling food, just because, again, any germs or bacteria that may be left on your hands are not going to be on a shared common towel. Number 5, you can tell if a food is safe to eat by smelling it. I mean, we've all done it, right? We've taken that, I think it's okay, but can you really tell? So the answer is false. You can't tell if a food is contaminated with a harmful bacteria by looking at it, by smelling it, or even by tasting it. If you are really not sure about the quality of that food, don't eat it. Throw it out. Number 6, keep raw foods and cooked foods separately. True or false? So when we're putting things in our fridge, are we putting our leftovers next to our raw meat? Are we putting our vegetables next to our raw, seafood? What do you think? So this is actually true. We want to keep things separate. And it's important to keep raw meat, poultry, seafood in separate containers and away from cooked foods. We want to use separate utensils if we're handling raw foods and cooked foods. And when food is cooked, serve it on a clean plate. Use clean utensils to avoid cross-contamination. So this means the plate that you use to bring the burgers out to the barbecue needs to be cleaned thoroughly before you bring in the clean burger, or the cooked burgers for dinner. Same with utensils. They should be washed after you've use them for raw meat. Do not touch cooked meat with them. Make sure that you're washing them in between. Another way to avoid cross-contamination is by keeping different cutting boards for different things. So have different cutting boards for raw meats, cooked foods, as well as vegetables and meats, so that you are not cross-contaminating. Or you can simply sanitize by combining 1 teaspoon of bleach with 3 cups of water to sanitize your cutting boards and sanitize your countertops as well. Be sure to rinse and wash thoroughly after sanitizing to ensure that they are clean. Number 7, fruits and vegetables should be washed even if you're peeling them. So this is true. Always wash your fruits and vegetables thoroughly under cool running water, even if you're planning on peeling them. Washing things like squash, melons, pineapples, oranges before peeling them or cutting them helps prevent the spread of bacteria from the surface of the fruit to your hands, as well as to the fruit inside. So if you think about it, you're taking your knife, you're cutting through the skin of the fruit to the middle. So you're pushing any bacteria that's on the outside down into the fruit. Also, it's going to be all over your hands. So washing the fruit thoroughly will help keep that bacteria gone. You can also use a scrub brush to clean produce to help with like rough textured things like melons or potatoes. Really, there's no need to buy produce cleaners. These really are not any more effective than just using water by itself. And another thing is to cut away any damaged, bruised areas, such as bruises on apples or things like that, because it could harbor harmful bacteria, molds, or other toxins. Number 8. The temperature at which you cook leftovers doesn't matter because they're already cooked. This is a really interesting question. Some people eat leftovers right out of the fridge. Some people cook it up so it's warm. Other people cook it up so that it's boiling. Is this true or false? Does it really matter what temperature your food is reheated at? It does matter. So the answer to that question, the temperature at which you cook your leftovers doesn't matter because it's already cooked, is false. You should quickly reheat leftovers at a safe internal temperature of 74 degrees Celsius or 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Using a digital thermometer, check to make sure that the internal temperature has been reached. You can buy a food thermometer at pretty much any store or kitchen shop now, but keep that in mind when you are heating leftovers. You're going from a cold temperature to a warm temperature. So we still have that possibility of a danger zone temperature. And just because it's already been cooked doesn't mean that new bacteria hasn't started to form. Number 9, steaks can be eaten rare. True or false? Steaks can be eaten rare. So this is actually true. And a lot of people enjoy their steaks rare or medium rare. It is safe to eat steaks rare or medium rare as long as the internal temperature reaches 65 degrees Celsius or 145 degrees Fahrenheit. So the thing about steaks is when you're slicing the steaks, the bacteria that will grow is only on the outside of the meat. It's not going to be inside the meat. So killing the bacteria on both sides to a certain extent into the meat is all that needs to be done. However, things such as ground beef, on the other hand, has to be thoroughly cooked all the way through to a temperature of at least 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This is because, again, when you think about how you're cutting the meat, ground beef is put through a grinder. So think of all of the surface area that is on that meat. Every part that is touching the air has the potential to have bacteria. So it's all getting mixed together. So there's bacteria could be loaded throughout the ground beef or pork or chicken or whatever you're using. So always make sure that you're cooking ground meat very thoroughly. However, things such as steak can be eaten rare. Okay, and the last question, I know I'm running a little long on this. Last question. Pregnant women, infants, seniors, and people with weakened immune systems are at greater risk for developing foodborne illnesses. So, are pregnant women, infants, seniors, and people with a weakened immune system at a greater risk for developing bacteria or foodborne illnesses? It's true. It is very true. They are at greater risk, and they need to make sure that their food is handled safely. Especially things such as meat, poultry, fish, seafood must be cooked to a safe internal temperature, and using a digital thermometer to be certain. We also know if you've been pregnant before, you probably had a long list of foods that were not recommended to eat because of the possible risks that are associated with it. This also goes for infants and seniors as well. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, and check out the unlockfood.ca for more great information on everything nutrition and to read all of the details about our true or false quiz. Thanks everyone. I hope you have a great day.